Hits and crits. This video is brought to you by Asmodee.
What's up, Hits and Grits family? Welcome to a new deep dive of Season 6. Again with Randall, as always on Boltons. Great to have you, man.
Great to be here, Chris. Thanks for inviting me back.
Sure. So Boltons, deep in our heart, Boltons is probably the most stylish faction. It was a faction that everyone wanted to play when they came out, but also always had a tough time, obviously. The Boltons always in a spot where they can't just perform the way they want to. Yeah, and now we got the Season 6. And Season 6 got or brought some stuff into the Boltons, but also took something away. So what are your initial feelings about the Boltons? Where do they sit in your heart? On your gaming table, on your where are they at the moment?
I mean, they're a faction I've always really, really liked. Like you said, you can't help but like the Boltons for style reasons, and they're kind of like kind of edge lords of Song of Ice and Fire, and just how just grim and over the top they are. So I think everybody loves them from a fluff perspective, but it's just like they just can't get a break. It's we keep expecting them, like the next update is going to be the one that fixes them. And even in the Visions of the Flames article, they put a parentheses around Boltons, kind of suggesting that this is going to be the one to fix them. And we'll see if that's the case. But I don't know. We'll see. Well, I don't really think it's going to be enough to bring him out of their mire. But they kind of live and die by their panic tokens.
By the panic. I love those tokens, man.
Hits and crits. Panic tokens here.
So
they live and die by these things, and we'll talk more about that as we go. But
exactly.
They still need a little bit of work.
Yeah, as you say, I always had this in my, like, even then when they didn't exist back in the day, I loved to play just out of fluff, just out of fun, play pure and neutral lists with just flayed men, cutthroats, blackguard, just to do it. And there was, like, I don't know, was it Season 3 or Season 2? They were quite decent, actually. There were some some decent neutral lists around Boltons. So, like, in the end, to summarize it up, we all want them to perform. Everyone wants that. Everyone wants them to perform better. So, again, cmon gave us a little bit. They gave us something. So let's see what they gave us. But before we do, the current state of the Boltons, obviously, when we check stats, they are down below. So I will start with, like, my key thing where they are right now, and not crunching numbers right now, just saying one of the biggest problems I see is their morale is their biggest drawback or Achilles heel. It's just really, really tough for them to compete against most factions when it comes to panic tests. So when I see Boltons across the battlefield and I play almost whatever faction, it's a good thing to play a corpse pile. So that's the current state where I see them, where really they need something to build on. What do you think? Where do you see them?
Yeah, they just have trouble, I think, pushing enough damage through when the faction was designed around their damage coming as a result of using these little guys here.
Yeah.
And it's those, when a lot of your damage and a lot of your mechanics are tied up into a dice roll, you're gonna just be setting yourself up for trouble, because you need more consistency. So at the local gaming store and in local tournaments and everything, I've had a lot of fun with Boltons, but I think at higher competitive levels, which isn't going to be of that much importance to most of us, but at higher levels, I think, and when you're crunching those numbers, after lots and lots of data have been crunched, you can just see the Boltons not performing well. But at your local club, when around your kitchen table, you could have an amazing Bolton game where all those rolls go your way, and then all these panic tokens are like worth their weight in gold. But then you have another game where it goes completely the wrong way, And it doesn't feel good when a lot of your success is just based on dice.
Exactly.
I feel like building around panic is kind of setting yourself up for that.
Yeah, and also like we all experienced that. I had a game against a team member of me of mine, Alex, who played Greyjoy during that time. And Greyjoy does not have the greatest morale themselves, but he was, I don't know why, but like saving each and every panic test he was saving. I don't know, on 8, on 9, on 10 even. And I was like, okay, you know what? You know, if that doesn't work, if I can't pull off spread fear, intimidating presence, if I can't pull it off, then, you know. And also, when you talk to Lannister players on the same on the same topic on panic tests, they will tell you the same thing. That their let's say meta is, at least for a few lists they can build, is also played around, or is based around panic damage. And we seen in the last season patches, we see that a lot of units, especially I think it was season 4, where they changed a lot of units. We seen a big step up of a lot of units got better morale. So they went from 6 to 5 or from 7 to 6. So, and with all of this, the damage you just talked about gets like less and less, happens less and
morale
less. It's less consistent.
Yeah, morale is only going in one way. I can't think of
exactly.
I guess the last time that morale got worse was maybe with the Champions of the Stag going from 5 to 6.
True.
Every other morale change I can think of is just gone the other way.
Yeah, I think
which
so.
Is worse for Boltons.
Yeah. So that's actually their problem, I would say. So both, like, no damage, and on the same side, they receive quite a hit when they fail a panic. That's quite big. All right, so let's now go to the general changes. So the general changes in a nutshell for the Boltons is they lose 50-60% of their commander options because you cannot take neutrals anymore, which is big.
Yep.
Which is probably like, I don't know if it's a real problem in terms of performance, because I do not know the neutral commander, that one neutral commander that made Boltons great, right? So, but in terms of replayability, fun of the game, for people just loving Boltons, owning one faction, maybe, I don't know. In general, this is not a good player experience for the Boltons. At the same time, I have to say I appreciate that they took the step, because, like, from a overall view of the game, it's good that they take neutrals out, saying we cannot balance this across 10 factions, which is the right step to do. Just saying, for a pure Bolton player that loves it and was really digging neutral commanders, that's not good. Second thing is they can put more attachments in, which is in general a good thing, but we will see, or do you see, does that really change a thing for Boltons? When you think of all the attachment options you see, does that change something for Boltons?
Yeah, I mean, if you're running infantry heavy lists, it will, because Boltons have no cavalry attachments, so you're still stuck taking a Glory Seeker or Fortune Seeker with your 40 points. So if you're building really wide lists, I can definitely see you making use of those 4 attachment points.
Yeah.
At the very least, you'll probably be using 1, maybe. But the thing is, you have 2 sources of free attachments already with Ben Bones and your free Bastard Boy. So you're kind of, if you want to make use of those free attachment points, you kind of have to build a really wide list, or always just take Ramsay Snow 2-point attachment. But I think for me the bigger thing is losing the neutral commanders. I know Vargo was always a kind of a stable pick to take as a commander, so I think they at least lost one decent commander from their roster, which was definitely not needed for them. But I do understand the desire to not have to balance neutrals with everyone else, and hopefully that will mean that all the other factions will eventually become a little bit more unique and flavorful in their own right. But we'll see.
Yeah, I think, like, when we talk attachments, I totally see your point that you can just put more in. My main question when I build lists, Bolton lists, And I put in these attachments. I feel they have great potential in terms of they have resilience for 1 point. They have boldness and courage for 1 point. They got a free band bones, which is a good attachment. They have, like, in their bastard boys, they have great stuff. Sour Ellen, right? Sour Ellen auto include for the archers, sometimes even for something else, but mostly archers. But when we talk general attachments, which is the Dreadfort captain with what is it? The heel back, the
Prey on Fear.
Prey on Fear, and the other one is Spread Fear from the Bolton Flayer. Exactly. So those two are probably not the best thing that you can get for 1 point without any restrictions. So probably Boltons, to make real use of this, they probably need some attachment that is really good for 1 point that has no restrictions. Probably. I don't know. I'm just saying that was my initial feeling when I built lists then with more attachments. I felt now I would need Bolton's Encourage once more, or I would need something better once more, but I can't because it's a named attachment. So
it's almost like they should have made the Flayer and the Dreadfort captain ignore attachment restrictions or attachment limits, so you could stick one of them on your units. That would have been cool.
Yeah, exactly. That's also a thing that we mentioned in this in our general season 6 video, like the first one we published. That was also a thing that we said probably they need to, like, in the future, take a look at restrictions in general. At the same time, like, we all love Song 4. It's a complex game, but you can, like, comprehend it. You can play it quickly, easily, but you can still comprehend if you stack abilities more and more and more and put Prey on Fear on top of it and this on top of it. Maybe that you might have units with whatever, with like 5-6 abilities, right? So it's probably hard to, I mean, Warhammer players would laugh now. Conquest player would laugh now. I'm just saying it would change the game we all play. Yeah. So that's the general changes. But now for probably the most anticipated thing that Bolton's got, specifically for them, is their faction ability, which I highly appreciate that they got it now, which is in its core good for, it fuels the the base deck. Also some commander cards. It also works well with what Boltons are trying to do, right? We just said Prey on Fear or Spread Fear and all intimidating presence, all that kind of stuff. So it works well. But Randall, tell me about what do you think about this card? Is it good already, or does it need more tweaking?
It's good in that before it didn't exist and there was nothing.
Yeah, I know,
like it. So it's something. It's something I'll say. I'm not I think it maybe didn't go far enough. So it's when it at the start of the game, it's worth 1 panic token, which isn't amazing, but so every time you destroy, well, it doesn't even say when you destroy a rank. It says when an enemy rank is destroyed. So even if they supply aid or something like that, or lose a rank from a self-inflicted panic test, whatever, you get a token from it. So it means more panic tokens for your army, but it's fundamentally not doing anything to make Bolton damage more consistent, because at the end of the day, it still ends up being a dice roll on the panic. Additionally, I don't like that you can only stack 3 orders on it at once, because let's say you've accrued two order tokens on it, and then you do a big flayed men charge into something and you knock off 2 ranks, or you finish off a unit and technically destroy like 3 ranks. Say you've destroyed 8 or 9 wounds and killed a unit. That could have been 3 order tokens or 2 order tokens, but now you can only have 3, a maximum of 3. So you've kind of lost a couple of order tokens worth of value out of it. So I think maybe if they had made it, you can stack 6 order tokens on there, so you can have a little bit more consistency with throwing out panic tokens in a couple of subsequent turns. It's something. I haven't tested it myself in an actual game yet, so I don't know how many order or how many panic tokens it's really going to be worth in the game, but it's better than nothing, especially considering there's panic interactions with some of your cards, but I just don't think it's quite enough.
Yeah, my first feeling was also when I read the 3 on it, saying, okay, I need to spend 3 for 1 panic token. I was thinking maybe it should be 2, right? Because it comes back to what we said about they have problems dealing damage. I mean, there probably might matchups, and you mentioned a great example, regroup and reform, for example. Regroup and reform, for example, which happens against certain factions, at least twice, or supply aid also, even more probably. You always get a rank, not only when you kill something, so that's important. The other good thing on this card is at the start of any turn, so you can do it whenever. That's also good, and it fuels cards like the heal card. What is it? Cruel Methods. You
mean what is it? The
heal one. Cruel Methods.
Yeah.
Right. Which is also start of any turn. So there is, if you have it in your hand,
it keeps a man alive.
Yeah. Also works also, but also
cruel methods. Yeah.
Exactly.
Cruel methods.
So cruel methods. If you're like let's just say you have flayed men and they're they are in a grind and they got a big hit, you can do Dreadfort prisoners, put out the panic, play cruel methods, right? Now
it's only on infantry units, unfortunately, but so it wouldn't help your flayed men, but
true.
Bad
example. Let's just say the blackguard or whatever. So you could do that. Mm-hmm. The only question, but the question is, it's not the same trigger, right? Because this is a faction ability.
No, it's just an ability. It's not
exactly. So you can deal out the panic, and you can do the cruel methods and heal 4 back, for example. Which is great, right? I mean, stuff like that really fuels the deck, so I really appreciate. So basically, like, to summarize it, we both feel, Randall and I feel, maybe 2 tokens, maybe a higher cap, would really help the faction ability. But as you said, it's a good start, and I appreciate that they got their own thing, which also is a thing, like, which gives Bolton's players at least something they can play around with and try out new things.
Yeah, and it shows cmon is committed to implementing new mechanics to the faction. It wasn't just tweaking a little card here or tweaking a stat on a card. So they're implementing new mechanics into the faction. So I think that's a positive sign for sure.
Exactly. And I said that so often before, I can really appreciate that cmon puts in the time and work over years now and always implements new stuff also, not just, as you said, not just tweaking down there a number or there. And now we got a big patch in terms of list building. We got the epic game mode, which I tried once already. And let me tell you, it's really fun. Epic game mode, you should really try it. Like, local game store, just grab a person that can pull off 80 points. Or you do a 2 against 2. Also cool.
Yeah.
Looks fun. Yeah. So it's something they can build upon, probably. If it's not enough, maybe they go cap 2 tokens, whatever. All right, so let's go to the tactics cards they changed. Let's start with not the panic bomb. Let's start with Sadistic Games. So Sadistic Games used to be a card which could be play around or was not really valuable at the beginning of the game. To remind everyone, so start of an enemy turn, your opponent chooses was the same. You select the targets, but it used to be something like when you are engaged, you get hits for each Bolton rank that you are engaged with. And the other one was 2 enemy combat units become panicked. So, and like normally everyone took the panic when you were engaged. And when you were not engaged and you played the card, it was just lost because your opponent chose the hits and the card was just gone. So it was a card which was invaluable probably until round 3 at least. So when you pulled it like first turn, you can just throw it away basically. So that that's so now they changed it to he has to choose between panicked and weakened, which is good for the Boltons in general. And it's a card which you can use straight round one. You can use it. How do you feel about the new sadistic games?
I like it a lot because, like you said, if you didn't have any unit engaged, then you just couldn't play the card. Or, I mean, if you played the card and you weren't experienced enough, someone would just select the engaged option, and then it was a wasted card. So I think this is good because it's kind of a you get a choice between an offensive ability and a defensive ability.
Yeah.
So putting out 2 weakened tokens without it, just start of enemy turn means you could put out weakened tokens on a enemy that was just about to attack you.
Mm-hmm.
And the enemy may not really have a way to get rid of that token.
Yeah.
Since it's start of enemy turn.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely good. Boltons have some pretty squishy offensive units. You know,
some
like
of them,
faster girls, cutthroats, very squishy units. So this can definitely help keep those units from taking a really big hit. So I think it definitely it makes this card much better. I think. Depending on the situation, you know, it gives you the option of the panic and the weekend. So, I really like it. It makes the Boltons a little bit tougher.
Yeah,
which is
good. For me especially, it takes away this what I just said. Like if you draw it in round one, and I'm like used to it became a meme, like a personal meme for me when I play my Night's Watch. I always draw first round. I draw take the black always. That's like a usual thing for me to do. Which is always which brings me a little bit to Sam and Gilly sometimes, but again that's just a bad experience, right? When you draw such cards first round and you just have to just throw away an epic card which you usually like, but you just have to throw it away because that's the way it is. So I like the change on sadistic games. The way more not interesting, but the way more exciting change is bloody beheadings. So basically, remorseless example, the card where you put out a cruel, even more cruel corpse pile. Corpse pile is out of the game. In the past led to weird situations sometimes on the battlefield. So this card is out and was replaced by bloody beheadings. And bloody beheadings, to remind everyone, is basically a panic bomb or a panic nuke, as we described in last videos. So when you clear a rank, each enemy in long range becomes panicked. If they were already panicked, they suffer a panic test. And if you destroy an enemy, each enemy in long range becomes panicked and needs to take a panic test. So basically panic bomb and panic nuke. And I really like this card because even if you do not pull it off to kill something, it again fuels your panic tokens everywhere, and you can make use of healing, attacking, spread fear, intimidating presence, all that kind of stuff. So it also fuels what we described in the beginning, that it lacks. What do you think about bloody beheadings? Is that one of the strongest cards? Is it in the mid tier section of the? Where is it?
I don't know if it's the strongest card because at the end of the day, it's still a panic card, so it's maybe not consistent, but I think it's definitely a good substitute for remorseless examples.
Yeah.
I really like the panic test bomb. If you kill a unit, I don't know how many units you're actually going to be able to trigger the panic test on, but I think it's pretty cool. I think I would have liked to have seen it kept the +1 wound from remorseless examples. So if this destroyed an enemy instead, each enemy in long range becomes panicked and they suffer a one panic test
with +1 wound
upon failure. That would have been really powerful, I think. But I think this is definitely a good start and a good sign. It makes the deck more unique for sure, because there were a lot of cards borrowed from neutral commanders and from other decks into this deck, into this faction deck. So it's good to see them make this one their own. So I always worry whenever they add kind of panic mechanics or things that give out panic tokens that you're going to be oversaturated with panic tokens or not have any targets to even put panic tokens on, which is kind of going back to general changes. One thing I've always kind of called for is for Boltons to get something else to do with their panic tokens, or for their panic tokens to do something else, or if an opponent would receive another panic token, instead they suffer 1 wound, or some kind of other kind of panic mechanic. But I think this is a very good substitute for remorseless examples,
which is in the game.
I can count
already.
on it's in it. Yeah, it was already in the game. It's still in the game for a couple of commanders, and I can count on one hand the number of impactful uses I've had of that card over the course of my gaming experience. Most of the time I end up just using it for a panic token and cycling it out, and that's it. So it's a good change. I like it. I would like to see how it performs on the table.
Cool. All right, so we got those covered. Let's go to units. So Randall, tell me about these 2 changes, and what is the more exciting one? Is it the movement on these
for me,
black cards, or is it probably right?
For me the movement is the biggest deal, because as a Bolton player, you're always struggling to like chug your way up the center of the board to get to that middle objective, or get to any objective, really, because whoever's on the other side of the board is usually going to be running at speed 5 or speed 6. So this really helps get your tank up the battlefield. So I really like it. I think generally speaking, I will complain some more, because I have to just, I give cmon a lot of credit, but it's kind of like we're doing good, we're making progress, but we can always make more progress. So I kind of wish that they had taken these changes to be faction specific. So if these changes were just for Bolton, Dreadfort,
you mean because
armies,
okay.
So like
not
the Bolton Blackguard,
not the neutral.
Not the neutral, because then I feel like now with these Blackguard being as tanky as they are and speed 5, we're going to start maybe seeing a lot more Blackguard in other armies. And plus Boltons just need something to make their own units unique, and special. So I think it's a great change. It's going to be good for Boltons and good for everybody else. I think the flayed men also are going to be good for everybody else. I'm now, like, with this change now, I'm thinking I'm not going to use Champions of the Stag for my Baratheon armies in this patch. I'm going to just bring Bolton flayed men, because now they've got better dice than the Stag champs. So I think the flayed men change is going to maybe make flayed men more seen more in other armies in this patch.
Funny, when I scrolled through the patch notes, I saw flayed men, I was thinking, is that probably the most changed unit ever since the game was out? I think flayed men was changed, like, in my mind, in my when I recollect, since I play, and I checked even patches before I played, like, later, and I think flayed men was changed, like, I don't know, like 12 times or something. Back, up, down, up, down, up, down. Always, I don't know. Someone loves the flayed men or hates them. I don't know. Or
loves them and hates them
at the same time. I don't know. Yeah. Let's see if this one die really makes a difference. I think it's good in general, because a lot of times they end up in a grind, right? And this one die more does something, especially when we think, I think especially when we think harsh punishments, their quest card, which gives it gives that card gives highest attack die value, which is good, but at some point, if you now probably, now that they are on 5, you choose probably another unit to put it on. Usually I always did it on flayed men and on whatever it was needed, but my intuitive thing to do was to put harsh punishments right at the beginning of the game on the flayed men, because I knew I was dropping down to 4 at some point in the game. So now I might use it on something else, because it's probably for them not that highly needed, because the Sundering is cool and everything, but those guys do deal way more damage through due to intimidating presence and vicious, rather than harsh punishments. So yeah. All right, so that's on the units. So we brought 3 lists for you. And we start with Randall's list here. So Randall, obviously, it's a 2 NCU list with 7 activations, not 8. So guide me through it, how to play this list.
Yeah, so this is my thoughts on season 6 is you're going to see like a lot more wide lists because people are going to try to cram all their free attachment points into their units. So I don't know whether the wide lists are going to be the meta picks or whether it's going to just be an experimental phase of season 6 where everyone's just trying to max out their 4 free attachment points. But this is kind of going the other direction. I've thought for a long time that 5-2 Bolton lists are probably stronger in some situations than a 4-3 Bolton list. And I am a huge Steel Shanks fan because he's like my play style of rush of aggression, of just that kind of aggro.
You got that
style.
from Greyjoy, playing Greyjoys all the time.
Greyjoys and Targaryens. So he's kind of like my jam whenever I'm playing. Also, he's like the guy that you can jam an elephant into his list, with that rush of aggression. So he's kind of like my elephant dream Bolton commander. So with him in this list, the difference between this list now and from season 5 is that you have the points to get Ramsay Snow 2-point attachment in there, and then instead of putting Ben Bones and the Bolton Bastard Girls for free, you have the attachment point to stick Damon Dance with me in there. So now those Bolton Bastard, they'll get boldness and courage, so they'll shoot 5 dice with their range attack, and then there'll be a 7/6/6 melee attack. So those dogs will be vicious all the way to the end. And then with Steel Shanks, you've got your Price of Fear. So if you're making your opponents fail panic test, then you're getting your flayed men to take free maneuvers, or you're getting your Bolton Bastard Girls to take free maneuvers. You've got the Rush of Aggression to get those dogs to send them straight up 12 inches. And the same thing with the flayed men. You can send them guaranteed at 11 inches. And then Walda is always a good pick, in my opinion, for kind of the flexibility of her crown effects. And then Roos is there just for some more panic token consistency. You could swap Roos out for something else if you wanted to go with like one of the neutral NCU picks, but I have him in there just for kind of consistency purposes.
Yep. For even more panic tokens. Yeah, interesting list. I also, when I saw it, Bastard Girls with Damon Dance for me is a thing I always tend to play in a lot of Bolton lists. I tend to do it because and what I like normally I pair them with Jane Poole and keep them back for most parts of the game because, as you said, like on 5 dice, it's just a good ranged unit. It's a decent ranged unit. They just they shoot their 5 die, they make her vulnerable, right, all the time. So they deal tokens, and your units can perform. And at a certain point, when you get the back to back, and you put Jane out, you can end of round. Sometimes you can like march them up. Right, when everything else is activated, that you march them up, you do Jane, and then they can go into something where it really hurts. So yeah, great combo. All right, so let's go to the second list. The second list is a list I put together, and which also was I saw it also on in our last office hour, which our mods did, and this list was also presented by Wargrog from our community, or at least a very similar one. And I played this list also in the past, and it is really squishy for right. It has only like defense of 6 and 5 and something, except the flayedman. So you need to be really cautious when playing it, but it has great synergies, right? You have Roos in there, you have Steel Shank with so it brings Sentinel. It gives you highly mobile Dreadfort archers. When played well, when a little bit defensive behind your flayedmen. Also, flayedmen need to do their job. They cannot go around the battlefield. They really need to be a tank or like a rescue haven somewhere in the middle or like somewhere near the archers to save them. Normally, Bastard Girls are quick enough. They are also Also deal or show a lot of like aggression, or it really threatens your opponent to not go too near to them. But again, it's hard to play, but it has like a huge, it can have a huge win at the game. It has the potential
you have intimidating presence like all over the place.
Exactly. It's all over the place, and you deal a lot of vulnerable tokens on top of what you normally do with panic tokens. So you deal a lot of panic tokens, you deal a lot of vulnerable tokens, and also you have Shay and Shay on the other side that deals weakened token also to protect them. So
and
all
a little
in
bit
all,
of healing, and a little bit
it's
of
all in
healing
there.
from Varys,
yeah, exactly. So this list is something to, I would say, Bolton main players, try it out. It's again, it's hard to play, but give it time. Try it 3, 4, 5 times. You will see that this list will perform. I played this list like maybe 12 times now, and it works. You can make it work, and I think especially now with the new faction ability, because a lot of times I ran out of panic tokens and I couldn't use something like cruel methods, or I couldn't use stuff I got from the base deck. Now that might be a little easier. But let's see. Okay, so let's go to the third list. So to make the full pack, because we have only 3 commanders left, we brought Ramsay. And Ramsay in Spearman is or Ramsay Commander, I have to say. Ramsay Commander in Dreadfort Spearman is a natural fit a lot because of the horrific visage.
It's like the perfect storm of deterrent defensive abilities.
Yeah, so you put everything in to make it defensive, to just be a tank, even though this is a 5-point unit. And Spearmen are in a not best, they're not in their best spot, right? I mean, obviously they're not taken too often, and they can probably only do this one particular thing. I cannot really see what else they could do.
They now, I guess now they kind of synergize a little
maybe?
bit. You could say, well, and also with the new bloody beheadings, right? Because if you are able to get their impaling spear ability off, then it'll make all of the enemies in short range panicked. So if you're able to proc off the bloody beheadings, then you can get that ability to
true. And you got that through the Reek also. Reek does it also. So 2 ways to deal a lot of panic tokens around you. And bloody beheadings. Exactly. So that's that. Then we already discussed Bastard Girls and Damon Dance. For me, just a great combo. For me, just keep it back, shoot, vulnerable, and then at a certain point in time, go in, and then you will kill things. Dreadfort Archers, Sour Ellen is a thing, also does not need explaining, and Flayed Men, Glorious Seeker is also a really efficient thing to do, makes them way more tanky, and gives your army something your enemy has to respect also. And then on the NCU side, as you said, Ruse gives you a lot of consistency in terms of panic token. Lord Varys just gives you flexibility. And I also, again, also said Jane Poole for this, for the Bastard Girl combo. But also, I really need to say, Jane Poole is, for me, Jane is an auto-include in Bolton lists because of her +2 morale.
It's a huge morale buff.
So she's really valuable in both ways. Not really, not because of I'm stealing the round, which can be really good if played correctly, or if set up correctly. It can be like really cruel or crucial to win a game, but also just to be able to put +2 morale on the Dreadfort Spearmen, for example.
Make them give them elite level morale.
I think they are on 5 then, right?
I think they're normally a 7.
So 5.
So this will make them a 5.
5. The Bastard Girls don't really need it. The Dreadfort Archers might need it sometimes, but just because of the crown, maybe. If you have a crown spammer, on the other side
or
of the table
somebody
might be
playing around with Mel.
But,
or, yeah.
Or also flayedman, right? Flayedman in the middle, like engaged with 2 units or whatever, and just bring them to morale, which makes you safe of any panic test, like, or not any, but like going down to 4 morale is with this unit, and it fuels the glory seeker, and then you're 3 with glory seeker,
and then it helps your stubborn tenacity to do more work if you're using them to kind of shoot in with your archers.
Yeah, so these are the 3 lists we prepared. There are way more, but this is something these 3 lists is something I could feel, or I feel confident about playing. Right, so that brings us to the end of the Bolton deep dive. Randall, do you have anything left that we might have missed, or that you, or second question would be, what is your main thing you would like to see in the future for future Bolton changes or tweaks?
So I think we all got a little overhyped maybe when we saw the Vision in the Flames article with the parentheses, Boltons or whatever. So we thought there was going to be some revolutionary change, and I think what we got was maybe some like evolutionary change, or
a good
little
start
less
at
change.
Least. Yeah,
a good start. So I think for me, and I think everybody else in the entire community, they want Boltons to get some access to other units, like the Brotherhood Without Banners has.
Yeah.
And that can come in a lot of different forms, but that's the main thing I'm looking out for. I'm excited to try the changes in season 6 for these guys. I really want to see how much work the new faction mechanic and the new bloody beheadings can do. Those are the ones that I'm most excited for. So I'm excited. We might have a local tournament coming up here, and I'm thinking about running the Boltons in them to see how they do. So yeah, I'm excited. It's good change. We're making slow progress. It's not the massive changes that we thought they would see, but there's still hope for the next patch. The next patch will probably be more the commander and tactics card focused one. So,
and focusing balance again, probably.
Yeah.
So the thing on including other factions, I mean, the lore gives it. I mean, the lore has the potential to give Boltons like Stark's units, or right. So Lannister units. So there is the lore. So why not giving them a little bit more? Yeah, let's see. That would be really exciting to give them something like, I don't know, like whatever it could be, like whatever. I mean, the roster is big, and both on Lannister and Starks are big. So that would be great to see. Right. So guys, if we forgot anything, if you say, okay, this list is squishy and it won't work, mine is way better, whatever you want to say, whatever you want to share with us, drop it down in the comments below, and let's stay engaged and talk about it. And Randall, as always, there's nothing more to say. And then until we meet again, roll those crits, guys.
Come for the hits and stay for the crits.